You need to be guided and led by God to fulfill your divine assignment, or your assignment and your divine destiny. You need to be guided and led by God. It is impossible, ladies and gentlemen, to actualize destiny to God's standard and God's specification outside of access to his guidance and his leading. Those we call great in the kingdom today are not great based on anything necessarily that they have within themselves. They may be very weak people who have mastered the art of accessing the leadings of God, and they triumph from one level of results even to the other. Why do we need the leadings of God even at such a time as this? Confusion is part of the limitations in all men. Confusion, write that word down please. Confusion is part of the limitations in all men, provided you are a man carrying flesh and blood and bones. Confusion is part of the limitations of all men. It's not an insult, it's an attempt to describe a state of man outside of the assistance of God. I said, to fulfill your divine destiny and your assignment, you will need to access the guidance and the leadings of God. And then that confusion is part of the limitations in all men. Hallelujah. Are we together now? Very, very important. You see, in life, please look up. Let me have your attention. I wrote down here that our decisions in life are usually based on the information we have and our current levels of exposure. This is a fact with all men. Decisions decide destiny, like Dr. Murdoch will say. However, your decisions are predicated upon the level of knowledge, the orientation you have at any given time. As powerful as that is, it is a risk, because your growth is transitory. That means you can make a decision today using the level of orientation and knowledge you have today, and only find out after 15 years that you did not make a superior decision. It means then you have to outsource a dimension of intelligence that is higher than your level of exposure or your orientation. Are we together now? It's amazing how that as you grow in leadership, as you grow in age, as you grow in life, as you grow, you know, in several kinds of responsibilities, your priorities change. Is that true? Your orientation changes, and so on and so forth. I remember years ago, as children, there used to be this hairstyle called punk. My people remember? And if the barber makes a mistake and ruins your 1 week by getting the measurement wrong and the styling wrong, your 1 week can be ruined and frustrated because someone was not sensitive to the times. But it is amazing right now that as I sit down for them to barb me, usually I'm sleeping. It takes a lot of patience from the barber, because any opportunity to not do anything for 5-10 minutes is converted to sleep. Just barb whatever you need to barb and allow me prepare. I'm just saying that our priorities change as we rise, as we grow in leadership. Are we together now? You can see a woman of 60 years old walking and her shoe caught, and she carries the one that is not working well and keeps walking. No embarrassment whatsoever. No explanation whatsoever. She will walk home with joy and confidence and say, listen, look at what happened. I started trekking from here to this place. But let that happen to a young lady of 21, 22, 23, and that is an attack. She may even go for deliverance and say, no, it has to be the devil for this level of embarrassment. If you look back at your decisions now 10, 15 years ago, I am sure from the lens of your growth, your maturity, your increase in knowledge, there are many things you probably would not have approached the way you did. Is that true? That means that depending on the scope of your understanding now, to make all of your decisions is a risk, because growth is progressive. It means in the next 5 to 10 years, the world is going to change and you do not know how far it will change. Your knowledge is going to grow and increase and you do not know how far, what level of ignorance you have now. You only test how bad your ignorance is in the presence of superior knowledge. Are we learning already? We are very, very limited as men.